Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, the only daily football programme on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow. Alan Rough is alongside me, Peter Martin, our bookroom guest tonight, Des McKeown. We look ahead to tonight's Champions League playoff. Managed to get that out through my teeth there. Celtic hoping for a healthy lead in that first leg. Manchester United managed to get a late goal to get a 3-1 lead to take to Belgium to face Bruges in their second leg of their playoff match. We'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about a man who can brag that he scored 5 goals in one game. Rory McAllister putting Falkirk to the sword in the Petrofac Training Cup last night. Have you ever had 5 goals scored past you, Roughie?
No, I was just saying to Des, I didn't do 5s. It was 6 for me on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, and do you remember the guy who put 6
Yeah, I
past
certainly do. It was Dixie Deans at Parkhead. They're a fantastic side there. Harry Hood, wee Bobby Lennox, and particularly in the strike force, and it was just one of these days. They were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, but 5 goals for Rory McAllister. The one thing I would say before we get to Champions League days, I wonder if Rory McAllister at some point in later life will think, what if? So many people have said he could play at a higher level.
I don't think there's any debate about that, Peter. I think Rory, over the last 3-4 years, has shown that he has got the ability to play at a higher level. However, a choice he's made, given that I think he's got a good full-time job outside of football, and football is so precarious. We've spoken openly in the show about some of the seasoned pros who don't have a club at the moment. Rory will always have his career, and football, as a part-time profession, and sorry, that sounds wrong, he's not a part-time professional at all. He's a terrific professional in the lower leagues. I'm sure if he wanted to, he could get a full-time club, no questions asked. Yep,
absolutely. And if he keeps winning the PFA Player of the Year for the lower leagues, I just don't know what state he'll be in eventually, Roughie, when he comes up to pick up the awards, because he certainly a couple of years ago had the title as the best laugh on the stage for his celebration of winning one of the awards.
Yeah, I think as the years were going on, he was getting cockier and cockier as you called him up to give him his award, and I think he was beginning to not handle the conversation, but I think he was getting a wee bit smart.
Yeah, absolutely. But, listen, I like that. I like somebody coming up with a wee bit of a gallus attitude. First year with his mum and dad, all nice, hair in a side shed, looking ideal. Second year, found himself a girlfriend, still not really cocky on it. Third year, singing songs at me and trying to focus to see how many presenters there were on the stage. What more can I say? But he well deserves his Player of the Year award then, and of course 5 goals, never to be forgotten. I'm sure that's one of those ones, Roughie, where you get the ball, get it in the glass box and get a wee plaque in front of it.
Yeah, and going back to that time with Dixie Deans when he scored the 6 goals, he'd actually the cheek to come up to me and ask me to sign the ball as well.
For good measure. Brilliant. We'll go back to the Petrofac Training Cup shortly, but of course Celtic, massive game, got to take a lead. Ronnie Dyle has already told everyone he's got to look at getting a clean sheet from his side in this match as well, but he said if they play to their full potential, then Malmo won't be able to stop them.
Well, listen, Ronnie Dyle will know more about Malmo than the majority of people in Scottish football, Peter, and he'll have done a lot of homework, he'll have watched videos, he'll have had John Park and the scouting team out there doing match analysis, so he's obviously talking through a greater knowledge of Malmo and their players than anyone else has. So if he's saying that Celtic, if they play to their potential, should see off Malmo, then who are we to question that? I just think that on the night, Celtic need to have I think a 2-goal lead going over to Sweden is a must for them, and a clean sheet would be a terrific advantage as well.
Here's a question, more and more now you can actually pick Ronnie Dyla's side, at least 9 or 10, which I always think is a good situation to be in, Roughie, when you're looking at teams that are successful. Who's the match winner? Is it a Commons? Is it a Griffiths? Is it a Sifsey? Will they feature? How do you see it?
I would like to think the match winner would be a striker, but all Celtic's good play comes from midfield. We saw Beaton, we saw Johansson scoring, Mackay Stephen, Armstrong. I just feel, and I've said this on numerous occasions, I think that the Celtic strikers are wonderful strikers. They've got so much ability, but at this level, I think you've always got to have a striker who can come up with something special. I think we saw it last night at Man United, the new boy you know, curling one in for 30 yards. That's what you buy these players with the money you pay for them. So tonight, I think it'll be somebody from midfield.
Yeah, see, that's what I like about Louis van Gaal. You know, a week ago, he's slaughtering some of his players for giving the ball away. Last night, he revealed he could kiss Memphis Depay.
No wonder, given the impact that he had in the game. You know, 2 goals. And it didn't look great for Manchester United at 2-1. You know, Bruges very much the upper hand if it goes as a 2-1 first leg scoreline, but big Merwan Falani comes on and gets the 3rd goal, which makes it a bit more comfortable for Manchester United. But just going back to Roughie's point around the midfielder, I think Stuart Armstrong's got a big part to play tonight. I think if he starts the game, I think his timing of his runs are imperative at this kind of level. You know, sometimes defenders can cope with strikers. It's midfield runners. Johansson's obviously good at it, but I think Stuart Armstrong's very, very adept at getting in front of the strikers and finishing chances, as he showed on Saturday.
Yep. Let's hope there's not a contentious decision for the referee to deal with. We've had a week of it, Roughie. We've had Benteke's goal for Liverpool, Coutinho clearly in an offside position under the new rules, and over and above that, last night, referee with whistle about to blow, and then clearly at some point he thought, I'll just wait and see what happens with this cross, and Fellaini scores the goal. I mean, I can remember Clive Thomas all those years ago in a World Cup match. Actually, Brazil had the ball in the back of the net, but he blew the whistle as the ball in the corner was being taken.
Yeah, I have to say I was glad he never, you know, that because I had 3-1.
It's all about you, isn't it? It's all about you.
But no, I think everybody would rather that situation when the ball's not in a dangerous position, because there's going to be contact. And how many times have we saw like extra time getting up 4 minutes and it's shut in 3 minutes 30 seconds? It's a difficult one to really nail it right on the second. So I think he made the right decision to let the play out.
Yeah, and some suggesting that this could be possibly one of the last games we'll see Virgil van Dijk in a Celtic jersey. There's been speculation, Roughie, I think since we've started this show 3 years ago about Virgil van Dijk leaving Celtic, but there seems to be in the morning paper certainly a suggestion from David Moss, one of the scouts at Celtic, that, you know, his days are numbered. He'll be sold. It'll be 12 million after the 2 Malmo games. Yeah,
I think the figures that come out will be the ones that Celtic will have to appease the Celtic supporters. I don't know what the figure will be, but I would like to think that once they've had add-ons here and there, the fee will be something that the supporters will say, well, we couldn't turn that down. It's maybe 10 with add-ons and maybe 13, 14. They're actively, I mean, every time you pick up a paper, they're looking at centre-halves. So it must... He's looking ahead, and I think everybody, you know, even with the Southampton result at the weekend, that they'll be on the phone saying, look, how quickly can we speed this up? Yeah. But I think Celtic really have to handle it properly, because they've got to keep the supporters on board.
Here's an unusual one, Des. Celtic actually actively seeking a replacement in Simonovic from Zagreb. They get knocked back from that deal. Now, I wonder if they were actually just gathering pace quickly to try and get the deal done at a certain price, rather than maybe Zagreb looking and thinking, well, you've banked this sort of money for Virgil van Dijk, we want a bigger cut.
Well, you can understand if that is their stance on it, Peter. You know, Simonovic, if he comes over while Virgil van Dijk is still at the club, then Celtic will be saying, well, it's potential and he's not necessarily going to play. Yeah. They sell Van Dijk and then try to sign Simonovic, then suddenly Zagreb hold all the aces. So from that perspective, I can understand why Celtic possibly want the deal done ahead of the game, and I can understand why Zagreb want to just sit tight and wait and see what develops. Yeah,
I'd love to have seen the headline though, Roughie. You know, we've signed him for 4 million before Virgil leaves, but he's actually potential a £4 million potential signing. Roughie, we haven't seen too many of them, have we?
No, we have not, but they have to get it right. You know that most of the strikers have come in, the £2 million ones just haven't cut it, and but I'm sure they've done their work on this one.
Yeah, just briefly, Miku, Swansea. I mean, do you think they need a striker of that stature? I mean, Celtic fans will be excited by him. He lit up the Premier League a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see whether they can get that deal over the line, but I would be surprised if a player of that stature would come up to Scottish football.
Yep, okay. Nice way to finish the first half of the programme. At Peter and Roughie on Twitter, if you want to give us your thoughts on Celtic and also some of the transfer movers and shakers over the last 24 hours, and also facebook.com/Peter and Roughie. And a big thanks to Lisa and all her team, who actually on Saturday sent us a Facebook message saying my 3 favourite men, Roughie, myself and Des McKeown, when she saw him on screen. What more can you ask for? We're back after these. Welcome back to Peter and Roughie's football show. Alan Rough alongside me, Peter Martin. Don't forget, Monday to Friday on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow at 6:30. You can watch the show, and of course, if you want to catch the repeat, you can at 10:30. That gives you a chance basically to watch some of the best bits that you missed and criticise us when we get it wrong for the game that has already been played that night. Just thought I'd flag it up to you. Okay, let's look towards... just before we touch on the Petrofac Training Cup, lads, Man United have been trailing Pedro forever and a day. It looks as if Chelsea are going to nip in there. There's nothing worse, Roughie, when you get your fans excited about a potential signing and then one of your great rivals nips in there.
Yes, and we've already seen it here. You know, with the Scott Allen situation, a lot of the fans are up in arms about it, and the same will be with Man United. You know, but has he not spent enough? How much money are Man United going to spend? Yeah, and I think obviously with Chelsea's disappointment at the weekend, they've got the money, and certainly it's another player coming in there. It's amazing to me where the Chelsea success was all big Drogbas and that. Now they're going for a weird version, you know, with William and Hazard and likes that. They're going for that big target man now.
Fabregas.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd give you a hand there, Roughie, and all
more
of them.
Technical, yeah, looking at the Barcelona way. But that's, I mean, you look at the Chelsea style, that's what it's all about, playing football on the deck.
Yep, whether it's going to be successful this year or not, I don't know, because we might as well talk about it now. Roughie, you are one of those guys who is for turning. You change your mind week in, week out in this programme.
Yeah,
nobody can really get a grip on where your money's going.
No, I have to say I was right behind Chelsea, but after the weekend there, I was really disappointed looking at players that have been there a long time, and obviously Mourinho's saying it's a settled side, but I think a lot of them have been there far too long now, and I don't think he's freshened it up enough. Disappointed with him, impressed by Man City, no doubt about that, and you just have to look at the Man City bench, and I've changed my mind now. I'm going to go to Man City. You're
going Man City to win the Barclays Premier League? Yes. Well, there you are. Don't forget to join us next week when Watford will be the team to win the Premier League for Roughie. It just depends. You know, once he watches a game, anything can happen. He can change from week to week on his predictions. I'm sticking with Chelsea, even though I'm starting to get the shakes on that bit as well. But nevertheless, Des, who did you go for at the start of the season?
I think I went for Man City. I think Man City, I just think that Chelsea, another year older, I wasn't convinced that Chelsea added enough quality in the summer to take it on again. I think Man City did.
Well, listen, it's all about opinions. Some you get right, some you get wrong. Last night I thought to myself, oh, wait a minute here, Annan, 1 goal up in St Mirren. I think my prediction, you know, could be 100% correct here, but fair play to St Mirren. They fought back and got a win and get through to the next round.
Yep, and they did it hard way, 1-0 down, as you said, very early on. I think it was 20 seconds or something, the penalty given against St Mirren. But fair play to Ian Murray's players. They came through the tie. Alan Gow back in the score sheet, and also a young lad making his debut. I think it's Jason Stewart who scored the winner. So from that perspective, some positives for everybody concerned at St Mirren.
And full marks to Gus McPherson because Queen's Park defeated Dumbarton by 1-0.
Well, that's a tremendous result in light of the way Dumbarton's been playing and the 2 results they've got. I would have thought they would have went there and thought they would have won that one
special mention there, a 16-year-old kid on loan from Celtic, Anthony Ralston, local kid in the Lanarkshire area, who has now played twice for them for Queen's Park. You know, just brought in on Saturday, 90 minutes, and again last night, 120 minutes, 16 years of age. Terrific, you know, what an opportunity for the kid to experience real football.
Yeah. What about this next one? I had a look at this result, Roughie, and I thought to myself, I wonder if Dunfermline could go through the entire season undefeated in the league, because they are on one heck of a run at the moment. I mean, the confidence must be sky high. 3-0 against Forfar, and Dick's side, you know, there's no quarter given with Dick. He hates losing at Tiddlywinks, never mind a game in the Petrified.
Yeah, you're right, and with the results he's had this season, I'm sure he would have went there, you know, thinking they could be the team to upset Dunfermline, but it looks as if they've won quite comfortably. I think they will have a good season, there's no doubt about that, but I think there's lots of teams underneath that, and I'm sticking out again with Ayr United. I think Ayr United could give them a wee run for their money.
Not for me.
No.
Dunfermline out the park. Although I did speak to Dick yesterday, Peter, ahead of the game, and he's quite happy to be flying just below the radar. He's very happy with the squad that he's assembled and the players that he's got. But obviously last night will be a blow to him, but I think Dunfermline will run away with it.
And of course Livingston managed to win, and they can strengthen the squad for Mark Burchill, but nevertheless good to see him getting through there. Another couple of stories I want to get before we say farewell tonight, lads, and you can give us your thoughts as well, because after all, action, not necessarily, I would think, a fair reflection of sensible views, may I add. And the only reason I mention that to you guys is because, you know, Jackie McNamara, a headline this morning in one of the newspapers saying, you know, I won't quit, in reaction to some of the criticism that's come his way on social media. And I just cannot believe for a minute that there is even a suggestion that he's under pressure.
I don't think so, Peter, but social media is a great thing in terms of it's what used to happen in pubs up and down the country. You know, it was arguments that people would have in their own wee groups while they're having a pint after, before, or sometimes even during the game. Now it's social media seems to be the outlet that everyone wants to pour out their thoughts, and from that perspective I would think at the level Jackie's operating at, it'd be as well just to forget social media, because the cyber warriors are the ones, the most vocal ones, don't always represent the groundswell of opinion of the majority of the support.
Yes, it brings me to that brilliant quote, and I love quoting the Scotland national manager, who said to me one day, just as a quick slap down, if 3 complete rockets phone in your phone in to tell me that I should be sacked, you know, does that mean it's a fair reflection of society as a whole? I mean, you know, is that the general view of everyone? And I took that on board. I mean, I think, you know, you learn as you go on. Social media, tremendous positives from it, but I think people give managers, hopefully, time to get a new side together, because after all, Dundee United have lost 3 key players, and now he has to try and do it all again.
Yeah, like you're saying, that I wouldn't be bothered about Twitter. I would be bothered about my home support. He needs to get them back on board. He needs to start winning games. We saw a small element of the weekend, you know, viewing, they're not too happy, but as long as he keeps the majority of them on board and they don't turn on him, I don't think for a minute Jackie would ever walk away from it. He's got something to prove there. He's for everybody that's against him, he'll be fighting even harder. He's not the kind of guy that would walk away, and I think the only way it would come to a head would it be between him and the owners.
4 wins out of 22 is not good enough, Peter. That's without a shadow of a doubt. However, if the strategy of the club is to develop talent and sell it, then you've got to give the manager some leeway to give him time to rebuild once players have been sold on. So if that's the strategy and the model of the club, Stephen Thompson and everyone concerned needs to back their manager.
Yep, and just on the point of a name we mentioned yesterday, Roughie, I always get worried when we suggested that it was getting pretty close to a deal for Arsenal's Gideon Zelalem for Rangers, but suddenly you have a situation where other clubs are sniffing around him now, and Rangers might be outbidding this Fulham, Charlton, Birmingham City. That's when you think, oh, wait a minute, I need to rejig my plans.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously he's identified them through whatever source, maybe somebody's recommended it to him. But as you say, if the boy's got any quality at all, there'll be clubs down there. Might not have thought he was going to be released by Arsenal, but so they're in now. And that's the unfortunate side of it. That's why you're better trying to keep any kind of deals you're doing. Although it is very difficult with the media just now, just keep it quiet until the deal's done.
Yeah, well, we will keep you posted on that as ever. Don't forget, you can interact with us, give us your thoughts. We will have reaction to the match Celtic against Malmo in the first leg of the Champions League playoff to come. You can do that at Peter and Roughie on Twitter. We will indeed read out all the good and the bad from that, as well as read out some of your messages on Facebook as well. Thanks to Des McKeown for joining us here in the studio. Roughie and myself will be back on your screens tomorrow night on STV Edinburgh and STV Glasgow, and it all starts at exactly 6:30. I hope you can join us then for more football chat. From Roughie and myself, thanks for watching.